So thank you very much for accepting to participate and share your valid views on Flagship Africa, which is a podcast and vlog platform. My name is Mujisha Joffrey Mwene Mateza Nyempingane, and you're going to be your host for this series.
Thank you so much for having me here.
This, viewers, is our very first take, and please accept all our imperfections, but there's content, so watch out for it. So please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay, so my name is Kanyua-Muguku, right? And I'm a consultant and a trainer, right? I facilitate knowledge transfer. That's what I do, right? So I do lecture at an institute, but I spend a lot of time just working with early stage businesses and entrepreneurs and equipping them with what they need.
Brilliant. So what's your view, because you're a thought leader and of course a practitioner, what's your view on leadership and governance in African communities, in civil society and governments?
So I think there's been an erosion from the traditional aspect of what leadership should look like, right? So it's become more self-centered or self-serving than community-serving, right? And I think that kind of summarizes the challenges that we are seeing around leadership, right? So I don't think the gap is the lack of know-how, right? So from a theoretical perspective, people know what good leaders should look like and what good leaders should do, right? There's an intuition that tells you that's bad leadership or that's good leadership, right? But I just think because we've kind of lost some of our bases on our foundation, we've become kind of more self-serving in our leadership.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And is there any movement, as you see it in your own view and opinion, towards changing the status quo? And if so, what do you think the real changes are, especially in the African context of leadership?
So I think, honestly, I peg my hopes on the next generation, right? And I think because I interact with a lot of young people, so I've seen that movement, right? So if we talk about social entrepreneurship and the idea that you can create businesses that can do good and make money, right? So in terms of the entrepreneurial space, that shift and seeing more young people in Africa embracing that movement or embracing even the mentality around that I just don't want to make money and all that stuff, and seeing how that permeates different areas, right? So we are seeing more conversation around what should good leadership look like, where can we start, right? So if you're in the business space, how do you portray good leadership?
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. So what specific skills, looking to the future, do you think that Africans in general, but African leaders need to harness in order to be more relevant to where the global winds are blowing us?
Okay. So, of course, we can say conceptual skills, right? But for me, I would go back to one thing that we've lost that we need to regain, and that's empathy, right? So if you look at the millennials and the next generation coming in and all that stuff, how do you lead them with just the gaps in their persona or the effects of technology? How do you create authentic organizations? How do you portray yourself as an authentic leader? I think empathy will be the skill, right? Or something to acquire if you can actually really acquire it, or something to cultivate within yourself as a leader so that you can lead that next generation. And I think that will help you transcend the global boundaries and all that stuff and just truly create a global organization.
Wow. Well, that's one big thought. Any final thoughts on just leadership in general and for the viewers here, what they should take away from this discussion?
Okay. So I know times are turbulent in most African countries, especially with leadership or governance from a country perspective, right? If we look at the different countries. But I think Africa is worth fighting for, right, as a continent, and each and every country individually is worth fighting for. So I think we can keep hope, right? We can still try to change the narrative. We can try and make an impact in our own sphere of influence, and I'm sure then that will merge together and we can make the change that we want to see.
Great. So thank you very much for your time. I know that you're a busy person, We're at Strathmore University campus in Nairobi, and that's where I met this amazing African woman leader. And I'd just like to say that, to be clear with you that this content is going to be shared online and that your views are going to be broadcast. So I hope that we have the consent from you
Yes, you
to do that.
Okay.
And we thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, viewers. That's been our very first episode. And we're happy that Flagship Africa has finally been flagged off by the amazing Penny. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.